Hi guys, my name is Arronyclothier. I'm a fashion designer based in Lagos, Nigeria, and I'll be taking you through how to draft a basic pattern block. Yes, how to draft a basic pattern block. So please, before we go into the video, I would like you to please hit the subscribe button below and please give this video a thumbs up. Alright, so to the drafting. The measurement I'll be taking into consideration is the bust measurement, the bust circumference, the waist circumference, the shoulder circumference, the nipple to nipple measurement, the front half length, the back half length, and the shoulder to nipple measurement. Now, for this measurement, I'll be taking into consideration the measurement or the figure with the highest number, which is the bust measurement. Remember, we say we are learning how to draft a basic upper bodice. Now, I need to take into consideration those things that I have in the upper bodice. I have the bust, I have the waist, and I need to also take into consideration the figure with the highest number. So in this scenario, I have the bust to be the figure with the highest number, so I'll be working with the bust. But in a case where you have a client whose waist is bigger than the bust, you need to make use of your waist to create your pattern. I take it again. In a case whereby you have a client whose waist is bigger than the bust, when you're drafting your upper body, you need to take into consideration the waist. That is what you'll be using to create the block. But for in this case, the bust is bigger than the waist, so that is why I'll be working with the bust. So now the bust here is 35 inches, and I'll go ahead to divide 35 by 2. Dividing 35 by 2 gives me 7.5. After getting the figure 7.5, the next thing I'll be doing is to add 2 inches, or again, divide your bust measurement by 2, or divide the highest figure you have for the upper part, divide it by 2. Then whatever figure you derive or you come at, you add 2 inches to it. So in this case, 35 divided by 2 is 7.5 plus 2 inches. I'll be having 19.5. So I'll be using 19.5 to create my block. So I'll go ahead to make use of the upper part here. The upper part here, I'll make it my starting point. That will be my starting point, or my shoulder. All right. So the next thing I'll be doing is to measure my 19.5. So I'll be taking my 19.5 like this. So I'm trying to take it at different points so I have a straight line. So the next thing I'll be doing is to measure my front half length, and my front half length here is 17. So I'll be marking 17. Please, if you have any question, you can drop it below in the comment section, and I would reply every question. So I have so I have 19.5, and then I have 17 inches to be my front half length, and 19.5 to be my bust divided by 2 plus 2. So the next thing I'll be doing is to divide this block. Now I have a block that I can use to work with the front and the back. The front and the back. I would like to work with quarter of my front and quarter of my back. So the next thing I'll go ahead to do is to divide this initial box into 2. So 19.5 divided by 2, that will give me 9.75. 9.75. Yes, 9.75. All right, so I have this to be my front and I have this to be my back. So I'll be making use of this for the front and the other for the back. So the next thing I'll be doing is to mark out all the vertical lines, which is my shoulder to chest line, my shoulder to my nipple point, and my shoulder to front half line, which I use to create the block. And then for the back, I'll go ahead to measure shoulder to chest line, shoulder to back half length. Now the reason why I'm not using the same length for the back as the front is because our back varies from the front. If you take the measurement of your front half length and your back half length, you'll see that they are not on the same level. So that is why I'm not using the same measurement I'll be using for the front, for the back, because of that difference. So to get my shoulder to chest line measurement, now the next thing I'll be taking is my shoulder to chest line measurement. Now to get my shoulder to chest line measurement, the formula for calculating shoulder to chest line measurement, shoulder to chest line measurement is equals to bust divided by 6.5 plus 3, and if I divide my bust divided by 6.5 plus 3, it will give me approximately 8.5. So that is what I'll be using to create my chest line, that's shoulder to chest line measurement. So I'll go ahead to mark shoulder to chest line measurement 8.5, and then I'll connect together. Now the shoulder to chest line measurement is that part where your armhole is resting on. That's where you insert your bust circumference measurement. So the next thing I'll be doing is, this is my shoulder to chest line measurement. So the next thing I'll be doing is to measure my shoulder to nipple point. Now my shoulder to nipple point is the shoulder to the tip of the nipple, which is 9.5. So that I would only take at the front. I won't take it at the back because there's no nipple at the back. So shoulder to nipple point. So the thing you just have to consider is those things that happen to appear at your front. Those are the things I'm marking out. So now the next thing is my shoulder to front half length. I have 17. Then I'll go to the back and measure my shoulder to back half length. And shoulder to back half length is 15 and half. 15 and half. So I'll be taking, so this is shoulder to back half length. All right, that's shoulder to back half length, shoulder to front half length. This is shoulder to nipple point. All right, so like I said, the beginning of my paper, I'll be using it to be my shoulder line or my starting point. Remember, every upper bodies start from the shoulder, so that is why I'm using the starting point of my paper to be my shoulder line. So the next thing I'll be taking is I'll be taking my nipple to nipple measurement. So my nipple to nipple measurement is 7 divided by 2, that's 3.5. The reason why I'm dividing it by 2 is because I only have 2 nipples at the front, and by the time since we are working with quarter of our front from here, that's from the rib of the front to the other part, that's what we are working with. So that's why I'll be using half of the nipple, and 7 divided by 2 is 3.5. So 3.5, I'll connect it straight up to the nipple to nipple line from the front half length line to the nipple to nipple line. I'll connect it there. So the next thing I'll also do for the back, I'll also take the same line for the back. But before doing that, I'll go ahead to take the neckline for my back, because I'll be taking tightening around that back area. So I'll go ahead to take the standard neckline. The standard neckline, which is 3 by 1 for the back. 3 by 1 for the back. And I'll connect with my curve. So watch how I use this curve. I'm making use of the tip of the curve, and then I'll connect. So that's for the back. So the next thing I'll be doing is I'll go back to the back half length, and then I'll take my tightening. Now, tightening for the back, it is used to eliminate excesses or any gaping problem. It is used to create extra fit around that back, extra fitness around that back area, around your zipper part. So now for tightening, we have for the tightening we have 100% tightening, we have 50% tightening, we have 75% tightening. So for the 100% tightening is approximately 1 inches. That's on your tape measurement. That's 1 inch. 50% tightening, 0.5 inches. 75% tightening, that is 0.75 inches. So whichever one you will be working with, depending on your client's body measurement. Now 0.5 inches, and that's 50% tightening, which is approximately 0.5 inches, will come out well on maybe a very slim person, maybe I would say size 7 or size 6 person. But when you're working with size 8, I would advise you use 75% tightening or 75% tightening or 100% tightening. So in the case of this person, I'm making use of 0.75 inches, that's 0.75 inches, that's 75% tightening. So I'll go ahead to take 0.75 on my tape measurement, and then this is 0.75. I'll connect it to the neck of the back, So watch me. This is the center back. This is the center back. So I'll go ahead to take my 0.75 inches from the center back, and I'll connect it to the neck. All right, like so. So I've connected my 0.75 inches tightening, the tightening, to create a fitting around that back. I've taken it and I connected it to the neck at the back, and then after taking this tightening, I'll now go ahead to take my nipple to nipple measurement. So now remember, my nipple to nipple measurement is 7 inches. 7 inches divided by 2, that's 3.5. So I'll be taking 3.5 on the back half length, and I'll connect it to my shoulder to chest line measurement. All right, so that's for my nipple line. This is my nipple line. All right, this is my tightening. I took 0.75. All right, so the next thing I'll be doing is to take my dart on my nipple line. So that also comes in different percentage, just the way tightening comes in 100%, 50%, 75%. Same way we have that same manner. So in the case of this person also, I'll be taking 0.75 inches dart intake on both sides. So I'll go ahead to take 0.75 on both sides, 0.75 on both sides, and on that shoulder to nipple point line, I'll come down by 1 inches and I'll connect. Now I took 0.75 inches to the right and to the left of my nipple to nipple line, and then I'll connect to the 1 inches I came down from the shoulder to nipple point line. Please don't be confused. This is my shoulder to nipple point line. I came down from my shoulder to nipple point line. I came down by 1 inches. I came down by 1. So I'll be connecting from this 1 inches to my 0.75 inches. I'll be connecting. So this is my dart intake. That is also used to create fitting in your garment. I'm taking my time to explain for those who are beginners, who are trying to convert from freehand so that they can get it very well. So I'll go to the back and also take the same amount of that I used for the front. I'll also take it for the back, 0.75 on both sides, 0.75 on both sides, and also come down by 1 inches from the shoulder to chest line. I hope you're getting it. Please, if you have any question, feel free to drop your question in the comment section and I'll answer all questions. So the next thing I'll be doing is, okay, before I move further, the first thing I did was to use the largest parts of my upper bodice to create this block. And the largest part of the upper bodice is the bust part, which is 35 inches. That was what I used to create my block. So I went ahead to divide the bust by 2, which gives me 17.5. I hope you remember. I added 2 inches to the 17.5 so that I can do all necessary adjustments. So I added 2 inches to the 17.5, which gives me a total of 19.5 inches. So from here to here, I have 19.5 inches, which I will use to work with quarter of my front and quarter of my back, remember. So the next thing I did was to create the length of my upper bodice using the longest part, which is the front half length. Remember, we have the back half length, the front half length. So I made use of the longest part, which is the front half length. So that was what I used to create the block. So I made use of what's divided by 2 plus 2, what's divided by 2 plus 2, and front half length divided front half length measurement to create the block. So I also went ahead to divide the main block by 2 so I can have my front and my back. So after doing that, the next thing I did was to input all vertical measurements, which I have my shoulder to chest line, my shoulder to nipple point, my shoulder to frontal length, which I used to create the block initially. Then for the back, shoulder to chest line and shoulder to back half length. Somebody will ask, why didn't we use shoulder to nipple point at the back? That is because we do not have anything called nipple at the back. So we are taking into consideration all the things we have at the back. So that is why we didn't use shoulder to nipple point at the back. So after taking the vertical lines, then I went ahead to input my that line using my nipple to nipple point measurement, which is my nipple to nipple point measurement is 7. I divided it by 2 is 7. I divided it by 2 and it gives me 3.5. So that is the line we have here that we use to input our DATs. Now for the shoulder to chest line measurement, I said you can get that by dividing your balls by 6.5 and adding 3 inches to it. So that way you get shoulder to chest line for any type of body, whether size 8, size 6, whatever type of body. That is the standard measurement or standard formula. So the next thing I'll be doing now is I also took my neckline for the back, which I said the standard measurement is 3 by 1 for the back, 3 inches wide and 1 inches deep. And then I went ahead to I took my tightening for the back before taking my DAT. I took my tightening for the back before taking my DAT. I also said my tightening comes in different percentage, 100%, 50%, 75%. So you tend to use different percent for different body types. So that's that. So I will go to the front now and I also mark the neck line for the front. So for the front, I'll be using 3 by 3, 3 by 3, 3 inches wide and 3 inches deep, 3 inches wide and 3 inches deep. So I'll be using now, look at my cup, look at the way I'm placing it. I'll be connecting it from these points to that, from the 3 inches wide to the 3 inches deep. I'll connect with my cup. So that way I have my basic neck for the front. So the next thing I'll do is to input my shoulder measurement. Now my shoulder measurement is 14 inches for the shoulder. So 14 divided by 2, 14 divided by 2, that's 7.5, 7.5. So 7 inches, sorry, 7 inches. So I'll take 7 inches. Now remember, whenever you are taking any measurement, you must start from the center front to the side front. Now here, what I have here is my center front. What I have here is my side front. The side front and the side back, they are sharing the same, as in they are meeting each other, they are close to each other, unlike the center back and the center front. So whenever you are placing any measurement on your pattern, start from the center front or start from the center back. So I have, this is my 7 inches, and I also come to the shoulder to chest line to take 7 inches. And then I'll connect the 7 inches on my shoulder to the 7 inches on my shoulder to chest line. After doing that, the next thing I want to do is to come down by 1.5 inches. That's the standard, come down by 1.5 inches. All right, so I'll go to the back too to measure my shoulder measurement. Now my shoulder measurement is 14 divided by 2, that's 7 inches. So from the center back to my side, I have 7 inches on the shoulder line. I'm taking my shoulder measurement on the shoulder line, on the starting point of my paper. So I also come to the shoulder to chest line and I also take 7 inches. And I'll connect the 7 inches on my shoulder to the 7 inches on my shoulder to chest line. I hope it's understood. Let me take it again. I took my neckline for the front, 3 inches wide and 3 inches deep, and I use my curve to connect like this. Then the next thing I did was to measure my shoulder line, which is 14 inches divided by 2. That's 7 inches. I took it on the shoulder. I came to the shoulder to chest line to also place that same 7 inches to get a straight line. That is the point where I'll be taking my armhole curve. So I did the same thing for the back also. I measured half of my shoulder, which is 7 inches on the shoulder line, and I came to the shoulder to chest line and I measured 7 inches also. Now my 7 inches, I started it from, if you can see now, this tightening. Now I have this line, I have this line. Now my shoulder to chest line measurement, my shoulder measurement is starting from here, the second line, not the first line. We already took our tightening, so it's starting from the second line, not the first line. So I measured 7 inches from the second line to the sides back, towards the side back, and I connected with a straight line with the 7 inches at the shoulder line. So for the back, for the front, I came down by 1.5 inches for the shoulder slope. Now the reason why is because if you look at our shoulder, it is not straight, it is slopey. You can even place a ruler on it, you'll see that the level of the highest point of your neck is not the same thing as the one you have at the end of your shoulder. So for the back, I'll be taking 1 inches for the shoulder slope. That's the standard, and I'll connect it to the nape of the neck, the highest point of the neck. That's what we call the nape of the neck. So shoulder slope. I hope you are getting it. Any question, feel free to drop in the comment section below. All right. So the next thing I'll be doing now is to get my armhole curve. So what I'll be doing now is to measure what I have from here to the shoulder to chest line measurement. So that's for my shoulder slope for the back to the shoulder to chest line measurement, and I have 7.5 inches. I'll go ahead and divide it by 2. I have 7.5 inches. I'll go ahead and divide it by 2. That's 3.75. So I'll mark my 3.75 as the middle point, yes, of my back. I'll mark it 3.75. I'll also come here to the front too and also mark that 3.75. Now I'm taking the 3.75 from the shoulder to chest line, not from the shoulder line, because if you start from this shoulder line, they won't fall on the same level. So I started from the shoulder to chest line, 3.75 upward. So for the back, I'll come out by 1/2 inch on that line now, on that line that I marked 3.7, I'll come out by 1/2 inch and I'll connect it to my, the beginning of my shoulder, that's my slope for the back, with a straight line, and then I'll use my curve to connect from here to the chest line point, to the chest line. So I hope you get it. I made use of my ruler to connect from that point up and my curve. Then for the front, that's for the back. For the front, for the back, I came in, that I went in by 1/2 inch, but for the front, I'll go in by 0.75 because of the bust. We want a perfect fit around that part. So 0.75, and I use my ruler also to connect with a straight ruler, and I use my curve to connect from here, from that point to my shoulder to chest line. That's on that line. Now I have a perfect armhole. So the next thing I will be doing is to take the final, to place all my measurements, my bust and my waist measurement. So in doing that, this is my bust. Remember I said the bust is 35. So I'll be dividing the bust by 4. Now remember, we're working with 1/4 of the front and 1/4 of the back. So that is what I'll be dividing by 4. So my bust divided by 4 is, let me divide by, that's 35 divided by 4, that's 8.75. 8.75. So I'll go ahead and measure 8.75. Remember, your measurement is starting from your center front to your side. Don't start from your side to your center, from your center to your side. So 8.75, that is it here. And then I'll come to the waist also. What is the waist measurement? The waist measurement is 29. So I'll do 29 divided by 4, which is 7.25. 7.25. So take note, my waist divided by 4 is 7.25. But remember, I can't just go ahead to place 7.25. If I go ahead to place 7.25, these dots that we place here, we are going to sew it up. And if I go ahead to just measure 7.25, and at the end of the day we sew up these dots, there will be shortage. So I will measure what I have as the total of my dots, which is 1.5 inches. I will add it to the 7.25 measurement. Now 7.25 plus 1.5, which is 8.75. So I'll go ahead to measure 8.75. Let me take it again. Your waist divided by 4, that is the measurement that will be here. But remember, you took that, there's a dot in between. So that dot, you replace whatever you have taken. You must replace it back so that you don't have shortage. So that is why I have 8.75. So I'll connect the 8.75 to my bust divided by 4 measurement, which is also 8.7. It's a coincidence. The figure I have as the bust divided by 4 is also what I have as my waist. It's a coincidence. So I've connected the line now. This is it. This is my basic body for the front. So for the back, I'll also do the same thing. 8.75. Now I'm taking it on that second line. That's the line that's the new line, the tightening line. On that line, 8.75. Then I'll come to the waist also. From that tightening line, after that, that's the line. After that 0.75 inches into that line, that new line, I'll take 8.75 also, and then I'll connect to the bust. So you can see this is our front, this is our back. So the last thing we'll be doing here is to place our difference. Yes, because we are using a bust dart technique. The pattern drafting method we are using is the bust dart technique. We have different types of technique of pattern drafting, but the one I'm using here particularly is the bust dart technique. So the difference, you must place the difference somewhere. So the difference between my front and my back, which is, I'll go ahead to measure it. Remember, this is my shoulder to front half length. That was what we used to create the block, and then we measure we place the back length measurement, back half length. This is it. So from that back half length to my front half length, what is the difference I have there? That's here, from here like this. I have 1.5 inches. I will carry that 1.5 inches and place it from my shoulder to nipple point line. I'll place it. This is it, 1.5, and I'll connect it to my nipple point, not the 1 inches, the nipple point. So this is it. I hope it's understood. All right, so let me take it again. The difference between your front and back, bring it to the shoulder to the nipple point, and then connect it to your nipple point line. That's your 3.5 inches you measured on the nipple point line. Connect it there. So to avoid shortage, kindly measure what you have in between, because you'll be closing up this part or you'll be cutting it away. Kindly measure what you have from year to year. Just kindly measure what you have. I have 1.5. I'll divide it by 2. That's 0.75, and come back by that same 0.75 inches. Come up by that same 0.7. Let me take it again. Measure what you have from year to year. That is 1.5. Divide it by 2, 0.75. Mark that line. hold that 0.75, come out by it again, come out by it, then connect from what you came out by to your line here, this point here, connect to it, and then you connect from this point to this point also. Please watch it over and over again and you will get it right. So this is our basic upper bodies using the bust dart technique. I hope you understood. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button below and give this video a thumbs up. If you have any question, I'll be in the comment section below. Thank you very much for staying to the very end of this tutorial. See you in another tutorial. Thank you very much.